This is the Classic Auto Mall Show. Broadcast from the studios inside the Classic Auto Mall in Morgantown, Pennsylvania. Just 1 hour west of Philadelphia at Pennsylvania Turnpike exit 298. Featuring nearly 1,000 classic, vintage, and barn-find vehicles for sale under one climate-controlled roof. Now, here's your host, Classic Auto Mall president and the man with all the toys, Stewart Howden.
Well, here we are, another show, another day. We're a little late today. I don't know what happened here. Well, we were taking care of customers.
That's right.
Sales before
business before pleasure.
Yeah, no one will know. We won't. In fact, no one would know if they were listening unless they're late listening. They were,
or unless somebody like me opened their big mouth and told them.
Well,
yeah. So I like to point out our flaws. It makes me feel better.
Yeah, and human.
And human.
That's right.
Or as my ex-wife used to say, human. I said, there is an H there. She didn't. That's
how they pronounce Houston.
Houston and human. Yeah. Show number 159. Woohoo!
Thank you.
Yeah, not too bad.
All right.
I think our 1 year anniversary is. Our 3 year anniversary is like on the 8th or something of next month.
October.
No, I think it's September.
Oh, it is.
In the words of Jed Clampett, we doggies.
Yeah, I think it was actually today.
Happy anniversary.
Our 3 year anniversary we've been doing this. It's hard to believe.
Number 150 who?
159.
Wow.
So, yeah.
159.
So last week was a great week. Lots of cool things happening. First and foremost, the NHRA Nationals were in Maple Grove, which is only 7 miles as the crow flies from here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've never been to a drag race, TV does not do it justice. You see it on TV and you go, okay, the car's just running down a straight line. How interesting is that? Go there, and that 3,000 plus horsepower, the thunder and the fury of those cars, I don't see how they hook up traction wise. I mean, I understand, the tires are huge. They do a huge burnout to sticky them up and heat them up. But when they launch, I mean, you think, okay, you did a burnout, but that's not going to make 3,000 horsepower not spin those tires.
It's a real feat of engineering, isn't it?
Amazing.
Plus, those tires are super soft.
When
they're hot.
And very, very low air pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you see slow motion or even, photographs of them when they're launching, those tires are just reduced to nothing.
Yeah, they're skinny tires.
It's amazing. And then the funniest, and it's the loudest thing you ever heard in your entire life.
Oh, yeah.
Did you physically go, or you just heard it from here? No, because you can hear it from here.
I know that.
Yeah, my friend lives near Daytona, and he used to say, I hear your little buddies running around there again.
No, we actually went.
Nice.
Kathy and Garrett and I went.
Excellent.
And we went on Saturday, which is, we thought, it won't be as busy. No, it was packed.
Sure.
Sold out, parking, crazy parking and all that. And of course, they wouldn't approve Maple Grove today in a planning and zoning forever, because it's a 2-lane road into this event.
Right.
And there was probably 60,000 people there.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, and the transporters all got to get down there, and the trucks and the support vehicles and all that. But the funniest thing is, I mean, when they take off, when you're standing at close to the start-finish line, and they take off and you're 25, 30 yards from the start-finish, when it gets in front of you, especially the rails, the top fuel ones, not the funny cars that have the body over them, but the ones that look like a missile, when they get there, I mean, your heart can skip a beat.
You feel it.
Just
you feel it in your bones.
In your gut.
It's true. It's amazing.
Did you, you were in Tennessee, a lot of folks may know, may not know. You grew up in Tennessee. Did you ever hear the Chicago radio stations when you were growing up?
We heard some of them. We heard some WGN.
WLS.
WLS.
Well, you probably heard the Smokin' US 30 drag strip and Great Lakes dragaway spots. A friend of mine helped create those spots for his ad agency, and they were the Sunday, it's Smokin' US 30 drag strip, and the
that hadn't gotten popular.
Well, and the guy that owned the drag strip had like a bunch of them in a bunch of cities. So they used to do, Big Daddy Don Garlits, they're Little Red Wagon, and they would name all these cars. They had two guys, and they were going back and forth, and they got so hoarse that they finally figured out that they got finally a multi-track recorder so that they could record that, but just at the beginning, at the end, add the name of the drag strip,
Right.
so they didn't have to scream it.
Well, that's the way actors do. They say, and thank you for calling us at WLS, WLVD, you know, they always just have that little throw in.
Yeah,
that
like
they
the
do.
Good Morning America. You make sure you watch GMA on Channel 7.
We used to go up on the mountaintop to listen to the Midnight Rambler from East Tennessee, from Bristol, Tennessee, and Kingsport and Johnson City, the Tri-Cities area. He was a DJ that played heavy metal music that you'd never heard of, bands from England that you'd never, like Moxie and Legs Diamond, and these bands that were really obscure but really good.
Yeah.
But he talked like this, and he was called the Tennessee Midnight Rambler. And, oh my god!
And you can only get it up on, up on the hill.
Well, it was like 90 miles away or something.
Yeah,
so.
I used to like the Spider-Man on WLAC.
Yeah, same kind of deal. Yeah. So anyway, getting back to the music show here.
Yeah.
The drag races. So, man, and there's a lot of women funny car drivers and top fuel drivers. But
how about that?
But I tell you, it's amazing to watch, and then watch those guys go down and make a run of 1,000 feet in 3-point something seconds, and they're doing well over 300 miles per hour.
Crazy.
And when you're watching when you see them go past and you're watching them from behind, I mean, it just looks like they're going at a speed that's impossible. They can't be going that fast. How could that possibly be going that fast? It's like a Formula One car with, you know, in the heyday, they were 19,000 RPM. Those things with 19,000 revolutions per minute.
Wow.
Do anything 19,000 times in a minute. I mean, it's just, it's almost impossible. It's like what we were talking at dinner the other night. How long does it take to count to a million? And how long, you know, physically, 1, 2, 3 to a million, or a billion? A million is like 3 days, and a billion is like 37 years.
Yeah.
You know, but it's so cool because it's right here. Maple Grove is one of the legacy tracks, not unlike Bristol, Tennessee with Thunder Valley. Yep. And that is literally in between two valleys. And when they light up, oh my God, you talk about the echo chamber and all that. And the cool thing about Bristol, most tracks, there's the track, a big old fence, and then a lot of buffer zone between the track and the seating and where the people stand. At Bristol, the fence is right up on the track, and you could stand on there. You probably can't do it anymore, but this was back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Not for professional races, but for the street.
No. For the top fuel cars, you could stand right.
I'm saying nowadays they probably do away with that, but you can still do it on street.
But back in the day, I mean, you could stand right there, and I mean, it was. I mean, you could literally probably singe your eyebrows with that methane that they were running. So
a lot of chemicals.
A lot of chemicals.
I ran a '63 Buick at US 30 on a that was me. On a run what you brung day,
right?
And I think I did the quarter in 17.2.
Nice. Were you in a Volkswagen Beetle?
No, it was a Buick LeSabre with a 401.
I took my M3 BMW to Maple Grove like 4 or 5 years ago, and was running it, and I was so excited that I had it in manual paddle shift.
Sure.
But I was forgetting to shift.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh God, look, I'm
good way to blow up an engine.
Yeah, in an M3. That's always cheap.
Yeah.
But it was fun to drive down through there. But you watch the guys are standing right there at the start. At the start of the race, and there's a guy, and he doesn't stand there anymore like he used to. But it used to be a guy stood right between the two cars and ran the Christmas tree, which is the lights that light up that show them when to go. And they play a cat and mouse game of staging and getting, one gets the light on, the other guy waits, and then he pulls up, and then it bing bing and then goes. And of course, their reaction times are like 0.00002 or something.
Yeah, crazy.
But the guy used to stand right in the middle.
Yeah, the car gets squirrely on him. They could be easily.
And now they don't do that anymore. They don't, or he wasn't standing there then. But in Charlotte, where they run, and this is not the only track, but I don't know which other ones they do this at. They run 4 at a time.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah,
oh my
on television. Yeah.
My God. I mean, it's loud enough for 2.
That's amazing.
Add 4 to it. And then the bikes are funny. The super bikes that run, 100, 210 miles an hour. But I like the pro stock cars with the mountain motors. The 800 cubic inch, not running nitromethane, got that deep roar, but you don't have to wear headphones quite as much as you have to wear headphones out there. We saw people without earplugs or headphones out there. It's like, you are going to, in 40 years, I'm going to come out and I'm going to say to you.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, it's too loud. And people, of course, back in the 80s and 90s, people weren't thinking about that as much. People weren't as concerned about their health and the environment that you're in and things that you're breathing in. But it was a lot of fun. And then Thursday prior to that, which was September whatever date that was, we went to the dinner in Corning, New York, right outside of Watkins Glen for the dinner honoring Zach Brown, the CEO of McLaren.
How was that? I saw pictures.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I met, Bobby Rahal was there, Lynn St. James, who was on our show, was there.
Cool.
Of course, Zach Brown, lots of racers that were familiar looking, but you just couldn't place. But I don't know, there's something about a guy in his 70s or 80s who raced cars that has a certain look about him that you can just tell he was a guy that did that. And Bobby Rahal did a Q&A with Zach Brown. And this was all to benefit the International Motor Racing Research Center, which is there in Corning. And if you've never been to Corning, the Corning Museum of Glass, is really cool. And I thought, a museum of glass. Well, won't that be so transparent?
That would be transparent.
I mean, look, here we have a piece of plate glass. Look, here's a glass bottle. No. There was some cool glass stuff, and we didn't get to see all of it. But and then I bought one thing on the silent auction, so it was good, cool. So I got a little diecast car.
Nice.
I'm becoming the diecast collector, and then of course, Sunday I tore my finger up because I wore jewelry on a boat.
Yeah, we're all taking our wedding rings off after your accident.
If I get calls from y'all's wives, why is Steve not wearing his wedding ring? Well, because he was afraid of having. So I was messing with the bimini top, standing up on the cushion, the seat in the back of the boat. And I jumped down off the top off the seat when I was done, and my ring got caught in the bimini top, and it just about tore my finger.
It is ugly.
It's pretty fugly. So,
lesson learned.
But I lived and learned, and I will never ever wear jewelry on a boat again.
That's about the second incident on the boat.
And I've been out 3 times. One incident where it overheated, and then now this. So,
All right, we'll see. It's fun though when you're out there.
It's a blast.
Of course it is.
It's very relaxing and calming.
Absolutely.
Actually, I was reading a book.
Wow.
I don't remember the last time I picked up a book.
Wow.
Because, you read so much on the internet anymore. All day long, you're just reading. It's like, come home and you want to read?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Right.
No more reading.
That's why I like the Haggerty magazine. It's like, it's physical paper that I could read.
I mean, I remember I would go to the bookstore once a week and just stand at the magazine stand for hours sometimes and just reading, because I couldn't afford all the car magazines.
Right.
You'd buy 1 or 2 just so they didn't make you feel guilty.
And you weren't old enough for Playboy.
Yeah,
you had to look at it there.
And it had the cover up at the top so you couldn't see. My dad had a subscription to Playboy.
Did he?
Not while he was married. This was after the post-marriage.
It was for the articles.
Yeah. It's the interview.
Good writing.
Great interviews.
Actually, they were good.
Some of the best interviews you ever read of any famous people during the time. I mean, that was the place to go. And they were apolitical at the time. They weren't.
Right.
I mean, they were political, but they weren't. It wasn't as in your face as it probably would be today.
Sure.
It's a different world. And,
absolutely.
Obviously, I remember, not that long ago, I don't know why we're talking about Playboy magazine. Not that long ago, they went non-nude. They were had girls that were not nude.
Good for them.
Yeah. Which seems like just a, cosmopolitan or something.
And it opens it up for more ladies to get in the magazine.
A wider audience.
Get seen.
That's exactly right. So when we return, we'll continue our conversation about magazines and whatnot on the Classic Auto Mall Show. We'll see you in just a couple of minutes.
The Classic Auto Mall has more than 1,000 vehicles for consignment in our huge 8-acre climate-controlled showroom. It's a real indoor mall. If you'd like to know all the advantages of buying and selling a car through consignment, the information is available on our website, or you can talk to a classic car specialist who can answer all your questions. It's easy, safe, convenient, and it doesn't matter where you are. We sell worldwide. See our huge selection of classic and collectible vehicles at classicautomall.com.
And we're back with the Classic Auto Mall Show from the Classic Auto Mall Studios in Morgantown, Pennsylvania. www.classicautomall.com.
That's right.
You want to go to our website, see all of our inventory, or podcast at Classic Auto Mall if you've got questions or concerns or
any comment at all.
Yeah, all these places you can
podcast at classicautomall.com.
We're everywhere. We're nationwide, aren't we? We're worldwide.
We're bad. We're nationwide.
You can listen to us in France.
Oh, in France.
In fact,
we just sold a car in France.
That's right. That's why it was on the top of my head.
Wow, that was a nice segue.
Maybe he's listening.
I heard it in South Carolina.
South Carolina. So how many cars do we have in inventory?
Well,
right now? You cheated and jacked?
Well, you said.
Can I guess?
We had a guest in earlier. So.
Can I guess?
Yes.
962.
Wow.
No, come on.
I love that.
I think he was in the
That was a
room, too.
ringer. 963.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So not bad. Where did we sell cars last week?
Where?
How about Pine Bush, New York, Lidditz, Pennsylvania, American Falls, Idaho, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Union, Kentucky, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Temple, Pennsylvania, Kensington, Maryland, Hamburg, Pennsylvania, Wharton, New Jersey, Avon, New York, University Place, Washington, Nelson, New Zealand, Ellenwood, Georgia, Imperial Beach, California, and Conway, South Carolina.
And I wasn't here last week, but apologies to Reisterstown, Maryland. That's a suburb of Baltimore.
I didn't mess up one today.
Oh, I've been to Reisterstown.
Yeah.
I've never been to Reisterstown.
Yeah, it's up top part of the Beltway near Towson.
I know where that is.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Well,
Nelson, New
they
Zealand.
care
I
there.
know they care, but I can't help it, and I'm not going to do much research.
Where was it in California? Where was the sale in California?
The sale in California was Imperial Beach.
Ooh.
Never heard of it.
No,
Is that
me
Ventura
neither.
County, maybe? I don't know.
I've heard of Imperial Valley.
Somebody look that up.
I've heard.
Our crack staff will
what
get on
was that Imperial butter? And the lady had the.
That's right. Dun, 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 dun. That's right. Dun, dun, dun.
Talk about commercials that stick to you.
Oh man! I mean, how many years has it been since you heard that?
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought about that.
Oh, there's that finger. If you can see it on. The,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
on the-
YouTube. Yeah. Got to zoom in on
look.
that. Zoom in.
I've
Zoom in.
hurt I've hurt myself. Anyway, anywho, yeah. So, how about cool selling cars to New Zealand?
That is wild.
How do you like that shipping bill?
Yeah.
Gee.
Well, there's a guy who comes every year, right? Who comes
Yeah.
to the Harrisburg, makes the rounds and buys some cars.
And buys a handful of cars. I think what he does is he sources containers that are large enough to hold like 2 at a time, and of course, and then he'll get like 6 containers or however many he needs ahead of time, and it's probably a little bit more cost effective than just shipping one car at a time. But,
Sure. Good.
But yeah, he does it every year. I think he comes around Hershey and Carlisle.
That's what it is. Yeah.
When normally he
Which
comes.
is coming up.
Golly, isn't that hard to believe?
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
I looked at the counter. I went, oh,
yeah,
it's here.
It is here. It is upon us. And of course, other events we'll talk about here in a minute.
But the crack staff found out that Imperial Beach is near San Diego.
Oh, okay. Thank
San
you.
Diego.
Appreciate
So,
that.
yeah.
San Diego.
San Diego. So the article of the week, which I don't do every week, so I shouldn't call it the article of the week. I should just call it the article whenever I feel like it to talk about an article that I wrote for the AACA Speedster, which is their newsletter that they send out. Do you get our newsletter, by the way?
I get our newsletter.
Okay.
I don't
I just
get
wanna make sure.
the Speedster, though.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure
Yep.
that you're participating.
Yep.
The last, or one of the articles I did was called Preparing Your Vehicle for Sale.
Mm-hmm.
You think, well, I just take some pictures and throw it out there, or I just send it to Classic Auto Mall. But there's more to it than that. There's a lot more to it than that. First of all, if you've never tried, if you really think that you can sell it on your own, then go put something on Facebook Marketplace for about a week and then call me back. It just is, it can be brutal out there. And I listen, I'm not diminishing Facebook Marketplace. I'm just saying that you get a lot of phone calls that are not about what you're actually selling, but just people trying to sell you something or trying to scam something or whatever. And it's, it's all, there's a lot of things that we can do that we pay somebody else to do because time is valuable.
Sure.
Do you want to be bothered in the middle of the night? Do you want to be bothered on a Saturday night when you're out to dinner with your family and all of a sudden you get a phone call that says, hey, I'm interested in coming to see your car. Well, it's 9:00 on Saturday night, but you think, I really want to sell it, so I better not turn this guy down. Maybe this is the guy. And then he shows up and either A, picks the car apart completely and just destroys it, or lowballs you so much that you get frustrated and tell him to leave your property.
Or you're at a safety risk, too.
Yeah, and you're at a safety risk, too. So have it at a place like us, third party, and it doesn't have to be Classic Auto Mall. I mean, whatever. It can be an auction or a Classic Auto Mall. We're not telling you that we're the only avenue. Yes, you all are all adults. You can go online and see that there's other places to sell your car. We're just really good at doing what we do, and we're really good at marketing. And, I tell people that all the time. They'll say, well, I've got a XYZ something and how can you sell it? You've never sold one of those before. I go, yeah, and probably nobody else has either.
Right.
There are some rarity cars and vehicles out there that nobody's seen. So, it's a matter of, okay, then who do you like doing business with and who do you think will do the best in marketing? Ta-da! That could be us. So
Exactly.
but you've got to, the things that you want to do when you sell your cars, you want to get top dollar for it. You want to make sure that there's no problems, that are glaring, that if a person shows up to look at it, or you bring it to a place like ours, that the brakes don't work or something, the battery's dead. And everybody says, it's so funny. Everybody says, I just replaced that battery last year. And you look at the date code on the battery and it's 1985.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we get a lot of cars in that say, well, there's a new this, new that, and the tires are date coded 2019. What was new in 2019?
Right.
They're new to you.
Well, and think about it. We all are guilty of that. That was just yesterday. No, that was 3 years ago.
That's true.
Yeah.
Exactly. It goes by.
It really goes so fast, and you forget how long it's been since you've done something. So it's not. We're not accusing you of being liars.
Absolutely not.
We're just saying that you probably might. Your recollection might not be as sharp as it used to be.
So there's a
Misremember.
difference between new and newer.
Exactly, Stan. And I mean, Steve. But the most obvious thing you can do in preparing your car for sale, obviously fix the stuff that needs to be fixed, but clean it. And I don't mean just rinse it off, and I mean clean it, really clean it, get the detailing, or bring it to us and let us detail it, or take it to a professional detailer. But have it thoroughly clean. There's nothing worse than showing a car and do the engine compartment, do the trunk, do the undercarriage if you can get to it, because you'll learn a lot about your car when you wash it yourself, and especially if you get it up on a lift and you've never seen it there before. But get it clean. Don't turn somebody off because they open the trunk and it's mildewed and smelly and dirty and got a bunch of crap in it.
Sure.
When we take cars in here, we take anything that's not bolted to the car comes out and goes into a property room. It's tagged with the stock number, goes into the property room, because nothing worse than showing and presenting a car to somebody, and there's a bunch of stuff in the back seat and trash in the floor and stuff in the trunk and boxes of parts and 400 plastic trophies that you want at the local car show.
Yep.
Which nobody wants, by the way. Don't bring them.
Right.
We don't want them. The new buyer doesn't want them. Now, if you've got a AACA Senior Award winner or a Zenith Award or any really, a Concord d'Elegance, first in class or best in show, absolutely. The plastic trophy that you got at the car show down at the church, keep for your own memories, because really we don't want it. But nothing, and nothing's worse than a beautifully cleaned, perfectly cleaned exterior car. You look in the interior, it's beautifully done. You open the hood and it's filthy. And you see that all the time where people forget about the engine compartment. Now, I know guys that used to detail engine compartments, and it was $5,000 just to do that. But they did everything. They pulled the front clip off basically and repainted anything that needed paint, polished everything that needed to be polished, replaced bolts that were rusty. They did the whole 9 yards. But it was not cheap, and it's time consuming. Have you ever tried to clean your engine?
Yes, I have.
Well, we'll be the judge of that. I'll have to have a look at your car. It's very time consuming.
Yeah,
it takes a long time to do it.
And even I worked with a detail guy that also had a small car lot, and he just said clean cars sell.
Yeah.
So even if you're just selling your non-classic car and you're going to try to sell it outright, you've got to make sure you at least wash it and clean it out.
No difference than taking it to the dealer. I mean, they say, the dealer doesn't care. They're going to clean it anyway. It affects what they think that something's worth.
Yep.
Exactly.
The value.
And, some of the modern cars now have so much plastic shields on the engines that it's actually easier to clean now than
it is, because it's a larger piece. It's not a bunch of little parts.
Exactly.
And also check that VIN number before you sell it to a stranger or before you bring it to us, because the number one problem we have is incorrect VIN numbers. And if you sell it to an individual and he takes it to somewhere and, out of state, and all of a sudden he gives you a call and says, well, the VIN doesn't match what's on the title, there's a problem. Somebody's going to be out shipping back and forth or fixing a title with a car that's gone that, by the way, the state says, well, they'll fix it, but they need to inspect it in person. Now the car's in Texas. Now what are you going to do? Check that VIN number no matter when you buy a car, how you buy a car, whether you buy it from an auction, because they're supposed to check them. We're supposed to check them, but things slip through the cracks from time to time. So always check that VIN number. You got to make sure that it matches, and and make sure you grab your Easy Pass and your garage door opener, because that's the easiest thing to forget there is when you bring it to prepare it for sale. And this is a really important one. Does your vehicle have wheel locks?
Oh, good point.
Nothing worse than finding out you don't have the proper lock to take the wheel off. And you usually find that out when you're on the side of the road with ding, 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 a flat tire. Yeah. And all of a sudden you're like, how am I going to get this off? And I guess there's ways that you can get it off.
Yeah, mechanics have ways to get... Is that a scream?
No, actually it was supposed to be this.
That's better. That is better.
Now it's coming clear now. Otherwise, we were going to say maybe your dosage is a little off today.
Yeah, well, that too.
It could be. those wheel locks, man. I mean, they do have special little ones that can, but at 2:00 in the morning on the side of the highway in the middle of Texas, I don't know. I'm not picking on Texas. You're not going to find somebody who's got one of those. So the wheel locks are very, very, very important. And also any paperwork or documentation. I can't tell you how many times that there is good paperwork that's later found in an attic or something, a build sheet for a Mopar or a build sheet for a Camaro, important documentation that would have added value to the car. And it's the provenance of the car. It's the heritage of the car. It's what happened to the car over its lifespan. And it's a shame when that gets missed.
A lot of these specialty cars also have certificates, of not off.
Yeah, COAs. Yeah, they do. The Heritage, the Jaguar Heritage Trust. The Ferrari has the Ferrari Classique. And the other thing is that you need to tell whoever, whether you're selling the car on your own or you're bringing it to a consignment house. People say to us, "Well, you're the car people. You know all about it. The car speaks for itself." No, it doesn't. I don't know that it was owned by Joe DiMaggio. I don't know that it was used in a movie. I don't know that your family bought it new and kept it for all these years. I don't know any of that.
Yeah, and can you prove it?
Yeah, and you've got to put all that down because the more of the story, the better it is. And, you follow those simple guidelines and it'll make the process much smoother and you'll get more money for your car. So, and at the end, that's what we're trying to do here. So when we return, we will continue our discussion, talk about some new arrivals that may have been here for a while because we haven't gotten to new arrivals in 3 weeks. So we'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Whether you want to buy or sell a classic, collectible, or special interest vehicle, you need to visit the Classic Auto Mall website for more information. If you're looking to buy, you can easily search our inventory of more than 1,000 vehicles on the web at classicautomall.com.
And we're back with the Classic Auto Mall show from the Classic Auto Mall studio, Morgantown, Pennsylvania, on a fill-in-the-blank day. Blank. How about some new arrivals that we've had? We just got one in that's really hit my hot button, and y'all are going to laugh at me, but it's really got me going.
All right.
The 75 Corvette convertible 4-speed in over saddle interior, side pipes. If it was an L82, it wouldn't be on the show floor. I would already own it. Is it L48.
Orange?
No, it's saddle bronze.
Oh, the outside is saddle bronze. You said saddle, and I went right to the interior.
Yeah, which is mostly what you see. You don't see many of them in saddle bronze, which is basically brown.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really a cool car. And, those were not high-powered. I think 210 horsepower with the L82 and 185 with the L48. But I don't know. There's just something about a convertible 75. I was last year for the convertible, last year for the 4-speed. So there was a lot of, and of course, modern technology eclipsed all of that when we thought that was the end of the line there, if you will. We thought, well, there are no more cool cars.
Right.
After 75, we're done.
Yeah.
And we're never going to have cool cars.
And by the time catalytic converters.
Yeah, and by the time I get to the age where I can afford something, because in 75 I was 13, so.
And they were $6,000 or $7,000. My God.
I know. I remember my first Trans Am I spent. It was like $5,200.
Yep.
It wasn't brand new. It was maybe 3 years old.
Same here, $6,100.
Yeah, which is a lot of money.
It was.
And thank God I had a grandfather who had thought I needed transportation because I had transportation issues or I don't know what.
Right.
I think it was stuff he wanted a cool car when he was a kid and he never did. So he said, "By golly, I'll get you a cool car."
And you'll take me in it.
He woke me up on Christmas morning. He said, "Go find you a car."
Nice.
I was 16 years old.
That is cool.
What? I called my buddy. Come on, we're going to get a Trans Am.
We had a similar story, but my dad went and picked it up and pulled it into the driveway. And said,
my dad did too.
Yeah. See? I got a motorcycle one time. My dad said we'd opened all the Christmas presents, and I, being an only child of only children, got maybe a few extra presents, more than my friends did, because they all came from 12 in a family and 22 uncles, and I was an only child of only children.
Wow.
So nobody had anybody to buy for but me. Huh. And sometimes we just have to take a break of opening presents. So one year we opened all the presents and I was pretty pleased with what I got. Didn't get what I really wanted, which was an orange 1975 Yamaha DT100 enduro bike, because all I'd ever owned before was dirt bikes, non-street bikes, even though we rode them on the street. And Dad says, "Why don't you open the curtains? It's a little dark in here." And I opened the curtains, and there it was sitting right there on the patio.
That's cool.
And I was like,
nice.
"Oh!" And that was the first bike that I actually got licensed and had turn signals and headlights and rode it to school.
Yeah.
Although you weren't supposed to ride it to school, even if you had a license, so we'd have to park it in the woods.
Really?
We told this story. So.
No, I don't remember that.
No, I didn't.
You weren't allowed to drive to school?
Who was I telling this story to? And
What, the school didn't allow you?
No, they didn't allow you. And I would go in, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't meet girls when I was 14. And it was maybe because my hair looked like crap.
Helmet head.
And I smelled like Castrol. So
That's Stewart.
But I got to, and I'd pick up my buddy, another Stewart Gillette, who lived in the same condo complex as us. And I'd pick him up, and he'd ride on the back, freezing back there. And every morning I'd do a wheelie up the hill of school.
Nice.
And then, of course, every afternoon up the hill back up to our condo.
Awesome.
And, of course, he was a good wheelie rider, which is, if you've never been on the back of a motorcycle, somebody's doing a wheelie, it might be the most scary thing you can possibly do.
Not
you have
interested.
no control.
Right.
No.
You barely can hang on. He's not going to hang on around my belly.
No.
Because that's
Not cool.
just not cool.
Not cool at all.
So he's kind of hanging on back
Bad
here
enough he's
somewhere.
riding behind you.
Yeah. Right. Riding what we like to say is a word that we won't use. But
Right.
and low man on the totem pole seat. It's like the guys in the pickup, three in the front, and the one in the bed. The poor guy in the bed is the low man on the totem pole, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it was funny. My parents were like, no, we don't have to take him to school. All right, just hide it in the woods or something. So that's what we did. So a lot of fun. So new inventory, new arrivals that we have this week. The 1923 Peerless 66 Series Speedster. How cool is this thing?
Yeah.
And we sold the Speedster next to it.
We had
Overland.
two. The fact that we had two at the same time was
Really
pretty wild.
amazing. And 1923, too. I mean, this one's dark red over dark red, meticulously handcrafted. It's a 322 cubic inch Peerless V8, 3-speed manual, gear vendors overdrive, and that's important. You want overdrive on these older cars if you can. It's a concours and parade history is back from many, many years ago, and it's the Vintage Motor Car Club of America cover car. I don't know when that was, though, exactly.
1924.
Well, not sure that they existed in them, but we'll go with that.
It wasn't
for now.
vintage in 24.
It was not vintage. It was just a used car at that point in time. So, and then on the other end of the spectrum, the 2005 Lotus Elise.
Oh, yeah.
This thing is really, these are so cool. Bordeaux red over black, garage kept, sport and touring packages. But it's got a Toyota 1.8 liter double overhead head cam inline four with a Toyota 6-speed manual. Thing's like a little pocket rocket. It's like a little go-kart, really.
This is the one we had out at Radnor, right? Yeah.
It is.
On display.
It is the one.
Great little cars. This is as close to a go-kart as you
without being in a go-kart.
That's right. Steel floor and all that stuff.
It's really cool and really well done. And they're becoming there's getting more and more interest in these. I think more and more people are realizing what they are and how cool they are. And they're a great value for the dollar.
Yes.
Also arriving is the 1969 Pontiac Firebird hardtop in Brasilia gold over parchment. That's a beautiful color.
It is. The color combination is great.
Yeah. The combination is great. It's got a 350 cubic inch Pontiac V8, date correct Muncie M20 manual, a splendid color combo. You said.
Oh, I did.
You did say that.
Splendid.
12-bolt axle. And it's got a little liberty taken with the underdash AC, which is no harm, no foul, I consider, because go driving 100-degree to a car show or a parade and tell me how much you want some kind of air conditioning. And as long as it doesn't mess up the integrity of the car, you're not drilling a big hole through the dash or, creating vents that didn't belong or something like that. So, and next on the list is the other Speedster that we had, which is a 1914 Overland race car. Yellow over black. It's got a build book with, a gazillion parts that go with it, a truckload full of parts that go with this thing. 240 cubic inch Overland inline four, 3-speed manual. Just a nicely done race car from like the Corky Cokers vintage guys would race, and they all race in period correct garb.
Yes.
And it's so cool. It's just absolutely such a cool thing. And it's not for the faint of heart. It may not go that fast, but it really feels fast when you're basically have no protection, no seatbelt.
Yeah. It's a horse carriage with an engine.
With an engine, yeah.
What it is.
And especially if you're the passenger. The driver at least has got the wheel to hold on to.
Right.
The passenger's over there looking for, is there anything I can hold on to?
All right, navigator.
Like my buddy. Yeah.
Hold on to your heart.
Yeah. And what a cool car. And I think it's sold. I'm pretty sure that it is. So you missed that one. But, don't forget to check out the Peerless because it's rarer than hen's teeth. It's rare and desirable, which is what we always say. People say, I've got a rare car, but does it make it valuable just because it's rare? No. It makes it valuable because it's rare and desirable.
Correct.
So, other new arrival, the 1960 Studebaker Champ pickup, Inferno Red Crystal Pearl over black and red, frame-off restoration, known history, and that's what we were just talking about. It's so important if you know the history from new on these things. 259 cubic inch, 2-barrel V8, 3-speed manual with overdrive, but the paint is just really well done on this truck. It is such a cool little truck. If you were going to, I think that would be on my, was that on your 100,000?
No, the other Champ was. We have a red one. We have a red one, it's a bright red one. But either one of them is great. I think they're just so unique and unusual. And
yeah, and I have a question actually about those two. The bright red one on the bed, it's kind of just flat.
Right.
Whereas the crystal is
a step side.
But it also is shaped. So is the bright red one like just an aftermarket bed that somebody just, well, we'll just make a straight one and look at, or was it like that from factory? Any ideas, Steve?
I think you had options.
Right.
Back
the
then.
fleet side or the flat bed that they would call those, and then the step side, which is a little different than what you'd see on a Chevy step side back in the day. Because it is a kind of a little molded design. Probably had something to do with what you were hauling in it, I would imagine. If you wanted to haul something, like a sheet of plywood and pickups, that was always a big thing that the pickup trucks would advertise back in the day, that a full-size sheet of plywood as opposed to a not full-size sheet of plywood. Aren't they all the same size?
4x8.
4x8. I mean, if they're not, then it's really not a sheet of plywood. It's just a piece of wood.
Yeah, it was just that the bright red one was just kind of flat straight. And not that it didn't have a step on it and to be a step side, but it was just, and I didn't know if that was just a different design. I
remember the Dodge trucks in the 50s would tack on the fins on the back of the side of the side bed of the pickup and offer it as it was just basically taken off one of the passenger cars.
Oh, yeah,
and they would they looked like, they were bolted on. They weren't just, super glued.
Are you sure?
Probably wouldn't work. Yeah. No, I don't know that for certain. So quit questioning me when I haven't done my research.
Well, the Cameo has sort of a car side
the Cameo
trim on it. And,
but both of the Studebaker trucks are pretty amazing, and they're rare. There are not a lot of those around.
No, they're not. And if you go back to the old brochures, which are all available online, it's incredible. Yeah. And it'll show you every option available. I mean, they were really big on letting people know up front, here's the 16 different Ford F-150s you can get.
And Studebaker was in northern Indiana.
Yeah,
and a lot of them sold in the Midwest. And what do they have? A lot of snow and rust. Salt the roads.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were, Studebaker was not a GM as far as volume, and they just
couldn't afford to do
out.
that. Yeah.
So finding them are rare.
Well, and trucks were made to be used and used up. Yeah. And when the fact that we have the testament of how many trucks we have in this building right now is staggering, because really, they were used until there was not. They were wrung out until they were wrung out, and that was it. You used them, and then they were just throw them away. Yep. They're done. And to find these trucks like that, because nobody bought a truck as a status symbol. Now guys ride around in trucks that have never been off road.
King Ranch,
or they have them that are sitting like this, which I don't even understand.
They were
He's doing a 45-degree angle for those of you listening.
100% marketed for work.
Yeah, they were work. They were bare 100%. Bones, rubber floor mats.
A lot of times farm trucks.
Yeah. And so that's not what they were for. And these were a little bit fancier, these Studebaker trucks, which probably, maybe it was the go-to-town truck for the farmer to pick up some supplies, and it wasn't going to be off-roaded or taken in through mud bogs or any of that. But hard to find these things. And if you want to be, stand out at the car show, then certainly a Studebaker pickup would
for sure
fit the bill. Other new arrival is I love this car, the 1970 Porsche 911T Targa, Irish green over saddle and black, nicely restored. This car is getting so much activity. Yeah. 91,446 actual miles, 2.2-liter air-cooled flat six 1-barrel Zenith carbs. Why didn't you just get a 6-barrel carb?
Yeah. Try tuning those.
Or yeah.
Oh, I got that one off, and now it's like line.
Wow.
And then a 5-speed manual transmission. But boy, oh boy. These early 70s Porsches are popular. It's probably the number one car that we get calls about every day. It's
hot
on the market. So if you're interested, pick it up. Come on, call us. Go to the website, do something. We'll see you in a couple of minutes. The Classic Auto Mall Show.
Buying and selling via consignment is safe, easy, and secure. We advertise, sell, and ship worldwide. And if you'd like to know all the advantages of selling your car through consignment, the information's available on our website, or you can talk to a classic car specialist who can answer all your questions. Plus, you can easily search our inventory online at classicautomall.com.
And a big thanks to the Pat Travers Band. It's so fun to hear that.
Good riff. That's
so riff. Funny. So I love that riff, and it's funny that JR was down in Myrtle Beach. He said last week, and that Pat Travers, our intro for our theme song, came on, and he was like, "Ready to start the show?"
Oh, you heard it on the radio?
Yeah, you heard it on the radio.
It's like a 12-minute song.
No, it's not 12. It's not Freebird.
It's long though.
What do they say about Leonard Skinner? Every other song, but for, they play Freebird. Oh, well, we missed Freebird. Well, then we're going home. They played that before you got here.
Yeah, I'm driving along, listening to this classic rocker, and I hear,
wow.
It's like, you're ready to start the show. And welcome to the show.
Yeah, right. That is like a Pavlov's dog reaction.
Yeah, it is. It's just, it happens when you hear that. It's like, oh my God. And I have that on my iTunes as well, too. So I'll have to, it hasn't come up. It's funny. You put this thing on shuffle, because that's what I do.
Yes.
Because the old days of searching through and, curating your playlist. I mean, it's just easier to put it on shuffle. Put every song you like into a folder and put it on shuffle.
Exactly.
But this one hadn't come up since we started playing it, which has been 3 years?
3 years now. Well, almost 3 years. I don't think we started with the music.
We didn't. That's why I was pausing at the 3 minutes.
Yeah, we had to get rights.
Permission,
right.
It's easier to ask permission than forgiveness than permission. Anyway, I'm going to see John Waite in about 3 weeks.
All right.
He used to be the singer for the Babies.
That is awesome.
And he's awesome. And apparently his voice is really good. And then my ex-sister-in-law, Pam Tillis, is going to be here on the 26th.
Performing?
In Sellersville.
Sellersville Theater. Famous theater. Big names there. You Light Up My Life. Who sang that? She's going to. I just
Debbie Boone.
Debbie Boone's going to be at the Sellersville Theater.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Engelbert Humperdinck is somewhere.
Hey, I'm sure.
But he looks good, or he's had the best plastic
Unlike
surgery.
Frankie Valli.
Yeah.
Like Kenny Rogers had bad plastic surgery.
Yeah, he did, but that beard kind of covered it up. And that's me. For those of you on radio, I am now making the whatever you call this.
Pull your face
down.
Pat Travers Band for fans who like the music that we play here. They're going to be in October 19th, Fontana, California for a couple of days.
That'd be fun.
Agoura Hills, California, Boca Raton, Florida in December, January in Montclair, California, and Phoenix in January.
How about that?
Oh, cool.
Good for him.
Good for them. Still touring. He's an hour old. So we started a new program at Classic Automall that we wanted to talk to our listeners about.
Yes, sir.
And our viewers, if you're viewing on YouTube or listening on any of every podcast site, right? There's not anything
all the carriers.
Right?
We're all there. No, we don't have that on the screen.
We don't have it on the screen, so I can't blabber about it. So that's all right.
You turned it off. Okay.
I didn't do that.
iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, Stitcher, TuneIn, wherever you get
your podcast is where you're going to find us.
Yes.
And Spotify. Don't forget Spotify.
And classicautomall.com is the easiest way. We link right to it.
And we need as many hits on our website because we're looking to get paid so the babies can get fed.
And sometimes our video producer, Randy, puts up video of what we're talking about at times.
Oh, sure.
And when we have guests and things like that. So our YouTube channel is just YouTube at Classic Automall.
Yeah. Steve just did a segment on what would you do if you had $100,000 at Classic Automall.
What would you buy if you had $100,000? We want to hear from you.
Yeah, what would you buy? And
podcast at classicautomall.com. What would you buy if you had $100,000?
Even if it's one car, because one guy.
Well, it could be whatever you want.
Yeah,
right?
one guy said there's a Camaro, a Z28 that's $99,000, and he said that's what I would buy with.
We might sell it to him for $98,000.
We might give him 100 left over.
Give him $2,000. Give him $2,000 to buy
for shipping
pedal cars
or shipping.
Insurance
or the wheels he wants to change. No, he wouldn't do that. Probably $100,000 Camaro, unless it's a resto mod, probably wouldn't be changing anything.
Right, exactly.
So the new program that we have, and we wanted to bring this up to people and let them know, just so it's not a surprise to you if you brought a car here in the past and you're going to bring one in the future, is we still have no upfront fees to consign your car. It's still 10% with a minimum commission of $3,000 because otherwise we can't keep the lights on. The change is we're going to start after your car has been here for 120 days, which is 4 months, which we give you for free. then the floor fee will be $100 a month, due and payable on the first anniversary day of your 120 days every 30 or every month after. So if you consign your car on January 1st, come May 1st, let's see, January, February, March, April, May, June 1st.
No, April.
No.
Yeah, January.
120 days is 4 months.
Yeah, so February, March, April, May.
Yeah.
You're right.
May 1st.
Yeah,
Okay,
May 1st.
Boy,
we went a long way around with that.
It's the 5th month of there.
So come May 1st, the charge is $100. We'll call you and get a credit card. And then every first day of the month until the car is sold or you remove it is $100 a month.
It's going to cost you more to store it at some We Store It place.
Oh my God! I mean, I was in New York, and the monthly storage fee in New York for a car without any services, you park it yourself, you deal with it, is like $575.
Yeah, and it was. I just checked a suburban Philly a few years ago, and it was $300.
Yeah, right. $375 now because now they're doing clubs. You know, they have the bar and
the whole thing.
You're a member or whatever, and you can go watch TV at the club.
And so and current cars and vehicles that are already here are grandfathered in, so you're not going to get that. $100 a month charge, but it was time that we do it. I mean, the cost of being in business just keeps skyrocketing. I mean, every time we turn around, insurance is more, fuel is more, everything that we do is just more and more money. Our rent factor has gone up, and rightfully so, because these buildings are not cheap to maintain.
Well, I remarked to you when it was 90 degrees, this is air-conditioned comfort. You can come and look at these cars.
Yeah.
When it's snow outside, you can come in here and it's still a pleasant, like they say, always 72 degrees in the mall.
And a lot of people, don't have an indoor place to park their car, and so we're offering that to you. And for the first 4 months, and you got to understand what we spend per car on marketing and photographs and description writing and everything that we do. If you went out and paid for all that and then paid for all the 65 websites that your car's on, probably cost you about $4,000.
Yep.
Plus the time that it would take you to answer every call.
Every call and every question. So we're saying, look, we'll give you 4 months. It used to be we did a 90-day term. Now we're doing 120-day because sometimes during certain year parts, we get 2-3 weeks behind in getting the car from the time it gets here to the time it gets loaded online. And because it's just, we take in so many cars.
Yes.
I mean, 15, 20 cars a day for, 3 weeks.
And we want to do the best job with every car.
Yeah, we're not going to just say, oh, we've got extra cars, so we're going to skimp on the description or on the pictures. We do the same thing for a $5,000 car as we do for a $5 million car. It's the same process. Nothing changes. Nothing skips ahead. And we take them in order as they come in. We write the descriptions in order as they come in. So, and just because it's more valuable, it doesn't, even if it's my own car that I put in the system, it goes through the same process.
That's right.
And, but it's expensive to do this. And we want to continue to do this for a long, long, long time. And I think there's a lot of our customers who would like us to continue to do this for a long, long time, because there's a lot of guys out there that like to buy cars and don't like the selling part. They like to buy and the sprucing up and then putting them on the market. And now they just kind of factor in the classic auto mall fee, and they do it. They want to continue to do that, and we want them to continue to do that. But after a car's been here for 4 months, and it hadn't sold, generally speaking, we're trying for a price that's not connecting with the market. And if you want to keep it here, and after the 120 days, you don't have to lower the price, but it's $100 a month on the anniversary day, whether it's here 1 day or 30 days. But if you don't want to continue paying the $100 a month, then more than likely, if it's still here after 120 days, you probably need to lower the price a little bit. And if you want to just use this as storage, well, I mean, I can't control that. And if you want to keep that price like that, but what we want to do is continue this, and the cost of everything has just gotten ridiculous. I don't even like to go to the grocery store because I just get angry. It's true. I just get so mad when I see the prices.
How is eggs? How are they $5 for 18 all of a sudden?
When did that happen? And when did bacon become $10 and it's not even a pound anymore? You can't even say it.
That's right.
Take a pound of bacon.
And I'm really mad because Spam is almost $6 a can now. Damn you, Hormel.
Is it?
Yep.
You know what they call a gaggle of bacon? A rasher.
Is that true?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know where it comes from. Who knows? Podcast at Classic Golf.
If you eat it all, you'd probably get a rash.
You'd probably get a rash. But anyway, we wanted to talk to our listeners about that and let them know that that's our new procedure starting basically September 1st. But if you have paperwork that we sent you previous to that, or if you had an agreement at the old deal, then we're happy to honor that. We're not trying to be sticklers on this thing so much that we don't do what we say we're going to do. But it's important for us to do it because I'd like to be my last gig, and I don't want it to be my last gig, and then a year from now we can't afford to keep the doors open.
Sure.
I can't even imagine the electricity bill.
I can't.
You can't. You don't even want to think about it. I think a little tear just came down my eye right now.
I shut the lights off when I leave the bathroom every time.
Thank you for your small little part there,
I do.
Steve.
I'm trying. I'm a company guy.
Yep.
I appreciate that. So if you have any questions about it, you can call me directly, 610-901-3804. You can find that number on our website. You can email me. My email address is on there as well, too, if you got any questions or concerns about it. But it's something that we just had to do, and if we want to continue this. So that's that. So, and then, of course, coming up, man, there are some I couldn't believe it. We were looking at the events on the calendar. Mm-hmm. It's like there's not a weekend that goes by there's not something going on.
Fall's crazy in this area. Yep. Mm-hmm.
We had Pastor Weed's car show last weekend. We've got St. Michael's coming up in what's the name of that town?
It's in Maryland somewhere. Right?
Maryland.
Is it Tillman?
Chester, Maryland. And it's the Kent Island Yacht Club, the St. Michael's Concorde d'Elegance, September 27th through the 29th. Kent Island Yacht Club, Chester, Maryland. CAM, Classic Auto Mall, is a sponsor for the first time.
Nice.
Yeah, and we'll have our truck and trailer there, so if you see us, come say hello. And
I think Kent Island's right off the Bay Bridge, which you come across.
Sounds good to me.
From Annapolis.
It's pretty much GPS. Don't give me directions. And I talk to guys, especially older guys, that go, where are you located? Well, you just go down Route 10 and you take a right and then go on Route 11 for about 3.2 miles. I'm like, wait a minute, just tell me the address.
And you go where the Tasty Freeze used to be.
Used to be, yeah. Or where lightning struck old man Wilson's tree right there. It used to be a big, beautiful oak tree right there.
I feel a little lazy using GPS. What was the book in L.A., the book?
The Thomas Guide.
Thomas Guide, yeah. I feel like I want one of the Thomas Guide again.
Man, and you'd flip through pages of this thing. This thing was like 58 pages, and it was thick, and you sat it on your passenger seat.
Or 888 had the triptych.
And you'd get to somewhere, and you'd realize that it was like you're on page 30, and the continuation would be on page 50, and you're like thumbing through and trying to drive, and with your knee, and got a Mountain Dew, and
I miss those days.
I don't miss them at all.
When we were on vacation, I had to explain to my wife why the arrow on the GPS on the map on the screen was pointing. We're going south, but she thinks we're going north. And I said, well, it depends how you set the compass. You could either have it by compass or by where you're going, how you're pointing. Sure. So there's all these things. I used to use those Rand McNally.
Yeah, Rand McNally. Also coming up, Hershey, October 8th through the 11th. You'll see us with a big tent on the grassy knoll. Carlisle is October 2nd through the 6th. And the fall auction at Carlisle is the 3rd and 4th of October. Audrain Concours on October 3rd through the 6th. And then that's just a lot going on.
Join us.
Join us, if you will. We'll be at all those places. And we'll catch you next week, with a special guest on the Classic Auto Mall Show. We'll see you in a week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Classic Auto Mall Show with your host, Stuart Howden. Executive producer, Steve Safier. Produced and engineered by yours truly, J.R. Russ. Available on ClassicAutomall.com, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Music courtesy of the Pat Travers Band. For tour dates, contact, and stuff, visit PatTravers.com. Produced by Car Smarts Media. Copyright all rights reserved.